Everyone assumes ancient humans lived in constant chaos. No privacy, no shame, no rules. But here's the strange part. Every society we've ever studied, no matter how ancient, had unspoken rules about arousal in public. The real question is, how did people, thousands of years before modern clothing, before private bedrooms, before any concept of personal space as we know it, manage something the body does completely on its own? And the answer may be much older than most people think. Imagine waking up in a small settlement 40,000 years ago. There are no walls between you and your neighbors, no doors, no curtains. Your entire existence happens a few feet from other people, all day, every day. You sleep near your family, you eat near strangers, you work beside people you're attracted to and people you're not. The body doesn't care about any of that. Arousal is automatic. It happens during sleep. It happens from fear, from cold, from nothing at all. Ancient humans experienced it exactly like we do today, but they had almost none of the tools we rely on now to hide it. So how did people survive the sheer social exposure of living like that? To understand that, you have to understand something modern people forget. Ancient communities weren't strangers to each other. They were small, tight, interdependent groups. And in small groups, everyone already knows everyone's body. There was far less to hide, because there was far less illusion of privacy to begin with. But that creates another mystery. If nudity and physical closeness were normal, why do we find evidence across nearly every ancient culture of specific garments designed just to conceal arousal? Loincloths reinforced at the front, wrapped cloths positioned with surprising precision. Even some of the earliest tailored garments archaeologists have found seem to solve this exact problem. That's not modesty for the sake of modesty. That's engineering, and this is where things get weird. Anthropologists studying isolated tribal societies in the 20th century, groups whose ways of life hadn't changed much in thousands of years, found something unexpected. Even in cultures where nudity was completely normal, there were still strict, almost invisible social codes about arousal specifically, not about the body, about the response. A wrong glance held too long, a physical reaction at the wrong moment. These carried real social consequences, sometimes serious ones. Because in a small group, misreading intention could mean conflict between families, between hunters, between entire alliances. So ancient humans didn't need modern shame to control this. They needed something older, something evolutionary. Researchers who study primate behavior found a clue in our closest animal relatives. Many primates have visible physical signals tied to arousal and dominance, and many primate societies developed behavioral rules to manage those signals. Because uncontrolled signaling threatens group stability, humans may have inherited the same underlying problem and solved it the same evolutionary way, through posture, through distance, through deliberate self-control learned from childhood, the same way children today learn not to stare, not to interrupt, not to touch things that aren't theirs. But there's a deeper twist most people never consider. Some anthropologists argue that clothing itself, one of humanity's earliest inventions, wasn't primarily about warmth. In many early environments, warmth wasn't even the biggest problem. Concealment might have been just as important, a way to let people live in close quarters without every private bodily response becoming a public event. If that's true, then one of the very first technologies humans ever invented wasn't about surviving nature. It was about surviving each other. Every time you adjust your clothing without thinking, every time you shift your posture, look away, change the subject, you're running a script installed in the human brain tens of thousands of years ago, back when the wrong reaction, at the wrong moment, in front of the wrong person, could genuinely change your life. The clothing has changed, the rooms have changed, the rules have gotten more complicated, then more relaxed, then more complicated again. But the discomfort of losing control of your own body in front of other people, that feeling is ancient. It was already old when the first loincloth was tied. It was already old when the first hut was built with a wall. Specifically so, two people could be alone. The word privacy is new. The need for it may be one of the oldest needs we have.